everyone. Once again, I'll be continuing my speech about sexual harassment in the workplace and how it can be prevented. But today I will address some of the counter-arguments. Have you ever been in a situation where you were hit on by your boss? Did you feel that you had to reciprocate or it may cost you your job? Maybe it wasn't your boss, but a coworker or even a customer. Did they intimidate you into feeling like you couldn't speak up about the issue to someone in authority? You were sexually harassed. And you're probably wondering how you could have prevented this or how you can prevent this in the future. To define sexual harassment, I've strung together the definitions of both Webster's Dictionary and NOLO.com. Sexual harassment is uninvited and unwelcome verbal or physical behavior of a sexual nature on the job that creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive work environment. I'd also like to point out that any behavior of a sexual nature that makes someone uncomfortable has the potential to be considered sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is not limited to those in authority. It can be an employee making demeaning comments about a female customer to their coworkers. It can be an employee making crude jokes in reference to another employee, or it can even be several employees circling sexually explicit jokes within the office emailing system. How can you prevent sexual harassment against yourself? WikiHow tells us to know the policy that our workplace has. Act confident because the weak are usually victims. Wear appropriate clothing. Don't touch others. Keep work at work. And if someone seems to become uncomfortable, apologize for the miscommunication and then stop the action. Be aware of what others will feel due to your actions. If you're the employer, how can you prevent this from happening in your workplace? NOLO.com once again tells us to adopt a clear sexual harassment policy. Within this policy, you should define sexual harassment so that your employees know what is appropriate according to policy. State explicitly that you will not tolerate sexual harassment. State the consequences for wrongdoers. Set out a clear procedure for filing sexual harassment claims. State that you will investigate fully any complaints that you receive, and finally, state that you will not tolerate any retaliation against anyone who files a claim of sexual harassment. Do not be afraid to speak up when you are put in this type of position. The U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission says, it is helpful for the victim to inform the harasser directly that the conduct is unwelcome and must stop. The victim should use any employer complaint mechanism or grievance system available. So don't let this behavior continue. Tell the harasser to stop, and if the harasser continues, take the next step in filing with the appropriate person or office stated by your company policy. Here are some facts about sexual harassment. In 2008, the Association of Women for Action and Research, or AWARE, conducted a survey to shed light on this issue. They found that in 500 respondents, 54%, or 272, had experienced some form of sexual harassment in their workplace. 27% of that 272 experienced harassment by a colleague, while 17% were harassed by their superior. 79% were women, and 21% were victims were men. 21%, sorry. 12% had received threats of termination if they did not comply. Just for your FYI, the industries with the highest levels of sexual harassment that were reported, in no particular order, are business, trade, banking, and finance, sales and marketing, hospitality, civil service, and then education. So what are some of the counter-arguments? You may be thinking, can the harassed just be a little too sensitive? Or maybe they're asking for the wrong attention, maybe in how they dress. Shouldn't they just take this as a compliment? To the first counter-argument, yes, the person may be oversensitive. What you need to do to ensure your protection against a sexual harassment complaint is to follow your company's policy to the letter. If the policy states that those kinds of relationships are forbidden among coworkers, don't engage in any behavior of that nature. Secondly, they may be asking for the wrong attention through their wardrobe or mannerisms. But no still means no. And lastly, should the harassed take it as a compliment? Some people could take flirting as a compliment, and maybe it is innocent, but others will become uncomfortable by your advances. If you get the sense that your advances are not being received in the way you intend them to be, apologize and get out of that situation. So in conclusion, don't ever hesitate to speak up about something that makes you feel uncomfortable in the workplace, because no one should feel trapped into working in that kind of environment. Also know what is appropriate so that you don't unintentionally make someone else feel uncomfortable because of something that you're doing. Hopefully, once again, by putting these few simple actions into place, we can all prevent sexual harassment in the workplace, once and for all.